The other end.
That's true. It's
You okay, Dana? The City of Plymouth City Council regular meeting for Thursday, November 10th, 2022 is now called to order. Coronavirus advisory pursuant to Assembly Bill AB 361. The meeting will be held in person and via teleconference electronically. In-person participation by the public is permitted, and remote electronic public participation is also available by following the listed links to via Zoom. Members of the public participating electronically via this link and wishing to speak may do so during public comment by using the raise hand feature in the Zoom webinar. When dialing into Zoom at the phone number listed above on phone, use *9 to raise and lower your hand. Use *6 to mute and unmute your phone. You can submit a written public comment prior to the meeting by emailing your comment to Deputy City Clerk at the listed email address before 5 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Emailed public comments will be distributed to City Council and made part of the official minutes. Call to order. May we take a roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilmember White.
Here.
Councilmember Sin.
Here.
Councilmember Anarusso.
Here.
Vice Mayor Ackerman.
Here.
And Mayor Kleinfelder is out.
Could we please all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? And Keith, would you like to lead us tonight?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Invocation, there are none tonight. And next we have the approval of the City Council regular meeting agenda of November 10th, 2022. And I believe that one of the agenda items,
7.1.
pardon me?
7.1. 7.1.
Yes.
So I'll move to approve the city council meeting as agendized, other than we're knocking off 7.1.
We're going to table 7.1.
Table.
I second. Can I ask a question real quick?
For me, yeah.
Yeah, as far as something on the consent calendar, 5.3, just because Kathleen, we don't have a city manager, and I don't know if we're gonna have questions about that. If that needs to be pulled right now.
We can pull that, we'll get consent calendar. Just the time, Vice Mayor announced consent calendar, any member of the council can request it for them, right?
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion and it's been seconded to approve the City Council regular agenda with the removal of item 7.1. We'll take a roll call vote.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember Sin.
Aye.
Councilmember Anarusso.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ackerman. Aye. Mayor Kleinfelder is absent. Thank you.
Number 3, public comment. Under Government Code Section 54954.3, citizens wishing to address the council for any matter not on the agenda may do so at this time by completing and submitting a speaker submittal form to the city clerk or following the COVID-19 advisory instructions noted on the first page of this agenda. Speakers will be called by the mayor at the point on the agenda when the item will be heard. Speakers are encouraged to keep comments to 3 minutes or less and to state their name and community of residence, but doing so is not required. Under provisions of the California Government Code, the city council is prohibited from materially discussing or taking action on any item not on the agenda unless it can be demonstrated to be of an emergency nature or an urgent need to take immediate action arose after the posting of the agenda. Are there any public comments for items not on the agenda? Anybody here at City Council? City Hall? Is there anybody on Zoom who would like to speak during public comment? Any hands up, Dana?
No raised hands.
Okay, thank you. Number 4, presentations, there are none. And number 5, consent calendar items.
The only reason I brought up, what was it, 5.3, is it time sensitive? Does anyone here staff? It's just for the month? Okay. I mean, I have no issue with that, pull it or whatever, I'm just, just in case. We can keep it as it is.
I'm opening it real quick just so I can see. Yeah, that's just a receive and file action, so it's all fine.
Okay, consent calendar items, we want approval of meeting minutes of October 22nd. October 27th of 2022. 5.2, correspondence, there is none. 5.3, receive and file warrants. 5.4, resolution 2022-23, AB 361, making findings necessary to continue to conduct Brown Act meetings virtually. Any comments? Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
And just to be sure, you get public comment to you before the consent calendar motion.
Sorry, are there any public comments on the consent calendar? Anybody here in City Hall? Anybody on Zoom?
Not this time.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
I'll second.
May we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Sim.
Aye.
Councilmember Amoruso.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ackerman.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Kleinfelder is absent.
And number 7, regular agenda items. Go to 7.2. And this is to approve the ACRA service agreement for the 22-23 school year for the amount of $18,000. And do we have a staff report? Because we had an illness.
Yeah, I'll quickly summarize it. This is the annual, at least as the last several years that I've been here, kids after school program contract for Watch Hill. This year, I believe it's in the amount of $18,000. This is essentially a similar contract form that we've used before. And I'll just note that the contract for this year is, it's for the school year. And obviously we're in November, so apparently the services have been going on or being provided, and I'm not exactly sure, why this is here now, but I'm assuming ACRA requested this from the city. And that's pretty much all the information I have. Do you have anything else? Do you have anything else?
Kathleen is trying to get on Zoom right now, so hopefully she'll be here in a little bit. I don't have any more information.
Just Kathleen, have someone with Zoom?
She's trying to connect right
Sorry.
She's trying to connect.
Trying to connect.
Oh,
right
trying
now.
to, sorry.
So can we go ahead and give her a minute or two
Yeah,
to try to connect?
Suppose in the meantime, we should go to public comment. If you want to. If you
Okay.
want.
Okay, is there any public comment on item 7.2? Is there anybody on Zoom who would like to make a public comment on item 7.2? And I don't mean Kathleen, I mean public comment. Anybody with a raised hand or,
Not at this time.
okay, do we have anybody on Zoom?
Okay, so Kathleen says she is on and it's just, she's Newman. So she has her hand raised.
Okay,
Dana, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have a question for me? I'm sorry. Having a little technical difficulties.
yeah, that's okay, thank you, Kathleen. Just if there's anything you want to share in the staff report for item 7.2 regarding the ACRA service agreement.
Yeah, ACRA has actually been doing the program since the beginning of school. But they did not bring their contract forward to city council. And staff was not aware of that until we received their invoice. So this is kind of going backwards. Hopefully that will help it make a little sense to council. That's why it's here now.
And we don't have anybody from ACRA, I mean, certainly there's nobody here in City Hall, but nobody from ACRA is on Zoom. I don't see anybody.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Council member comments, questions?
I think we actually got to table this until we have an ACRA representative to come and explain why this is being sent to council so late. A and B, are they taking a roll over there? Do we know exactly how many these young kids are actually coming and going from a daily basis? As far as I know, we have no idea how many kids that are using this program. I think it's a good program, but I'm not sure it's being used effectively. And he thinks $18,000 is a lot of money. And right now we don't have a budget. And I just think right now we should table it.
Kathleen, do you know if they keep roll or attendance? She is? Still says no.
Yeah, she's still there.
I didn't see her at the top, sorry.
Dana,
Yes.
I'm having trouble hearing. I can hear you fine, but I'm having trouble hearing council. Was there a question directed to me?
Yes, they want to know if you know how many kids are attending.
You know, I do not know how many kids are attending at the current moment. I haven't personally been up there. I can, speak to previous years. The program has never actually served a large amount of children. One year they stated that they had 50 enrolled. And we went up there a few times, and I had Public Works go up there a few times, but we never counted more than 12 kids at the site with their 50 enrollment. And we did reach out for Justin to try to get somebody to represent ACRA tonight, but we didn't get any response back.
Thank you, Kathleen. Councilman Amoroso, any questions, comments?
No, not necessarily. I mean, a bill's a bill. I mean, tabling it to me seems, irrelevant. If we discontinue it, we can always get a refund on the unused portion. So I think pay a bill, you pay a bill. It doesn't change the expense that's already been put out by Akron.
The bill is 4 months late.
Then we pay 4 months of a bill or 5 months of a bill. And then if you guys decide you want to get rid of it, you get rid of it. It's no one rough out. Or maybe pay for 6 months and then future agenda has it for another meeting to discuss its validity. That's fine.
I have a little bit of a concern that Acro provided the services.
Yeah.
Without the benefit of a contract.
Right.
And so I feel like now we're kind of stuck because if we don't approve this and they don't get paid, then what happens to the program? We don't, and I'm pretty sure I've asked before, maybe not in a city council meeting, but I've spoken to ACRA director and asked for statistics. How many kids are coming every day? And I know initially it wasn't a lot, which was understandable. We got kind of a late start and right off of COVID and all that. And then I've heard the ACRA director saying that it's picked up. And I was in part of an ACRA meeting yesterday, and the ACRA director said that there was about 15 kids that were part of the Plymouth Kids After School program. But I don't know if that means 15 kids every day, or I just don't know. And I think it would be good to have that information. I also noticed in the staff report, and I never thought about this before, but it says that the program has kids from the Plymouth area. So that made me start to wonder, well, how many kids are actually from the city of Plymouth? And yeah, $18,000 of the taxpayers' money. And is it from, are we paying for kids that actually don't live in the city of Plymouth? And I don't even know if that should be a concern or an issue, but it is for me. So I would like, my personal request would be to get some additional information from the ACRA director so he could answer these questions.
Vice Mayor, we do have a few more people on Zoom now. I don't know if one of them might be
Okay,
Justin.
okay. Councilmember White, questions, comments, and then we'll Brad has the public one more time.
Okay, this is a very much a double-edged sword for me. Because people need to get paid. I totally am in full agreement with that. But the contract thing, I do look at, they're at fault that they did not get a contract to us. When it comes to kids and the ability of parents being able to work, and if it's 1 or 2 kids, that's the numbers. I understand that the numbers and it's taxpayers' money, and I totally understand that part of it. I know what that program's done for violent households, so it kind of holds near and dear to my heart. But yeah, I do have a tough thing with you need a contract.
I'd like to add one more thing as well. I know that the Plymouth Elementary School has an after-school program for kids that can stay there until 6 o'clock at night. My grandson participates in that. They do charge, I understand, but they will allow kids to come that can't afford to pay. I definitely think that it needs to be looked into, particularly in light of the fact that there perhaps are kids coming there that don't live here in Plymouth. These things should be looked into and thought through a little bit, because I have a feeling right now it's being handled in a kind of a loosey-goosey way. And $18,000 is not a small sum of money. This will say. So I think we definitely need to have that gentleman come from ACRA and tell us what's going on. Right now, it looks to me like we don't have all the answers.
I will say though, if it's kids from Fiddletown, if it's kids from Bird Pines, if it's kids from those areas, like all go to elementary, and they don't live here in the city, I don't think that's a negative. I think that is just more of a benefit that a lot of people look at Plymouth as the hub that live in those areas.
That may be true, but do other cities in Amherst County have similar programs with Akron? Sutter Creek, Jackson, I don't, do they have something similar that we have here? Or are we the only one?
How do I put my hand up, Rana? Whoops.
Sorry?
What was that said?
What did,
There was,
I didn't quite get that.
She wasn't talking to us.
Okay. Yeah, I think we all appreciate the value in after-school programs for kids.
Kathleen's back on. She has her hand up.
Please, Kathleen, yeah.
Yeah, when these programs first started, I know Ione and Jackson and Plymouth were all participating. I believe we're just down to Plymouth now. There might be one in Jackson. But Plymouth's always been the most generous with funding. The other cities charge the parents a small fee. So just a little background on that. I know Ione dropped their Accra after school program. And I have a feeling it was because the school districts have programs in all the schools. And the rates there are fairly reasonable.
Yeah, and I was, part of the ACRA meeting yesterday, and the director has talked for the last few minutes about the after-school program does seem to be growing in the surrounding cities. And yes, I think we're the only city that we completely pay for it. We don't charge the families. And personally, I don't have a problem with that. But unless any other council members have comments, I do want to kind of run past one more time to see if anybody has logged on to Zoom, perhaps if Justin has. But I don't think so. Is there anybody on Zoom that is here tonight to represent ACRA?
Nobody's hands.
Doesn't sound like it. So let me ask one more time, are there any public comments for you here? And yes, please, Mrs. Turner.
Please come to the.
Oh, sorry.
Just so it gets recorded and then.
Oh, okay. I'm pretty loud. Can you hear me?
Hit the button.
But we need you to press the button.
So that way they
Press the
can.
button. Okay, y'all can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So just a question. I know we're gonna find out all the details, which I think we need to do, and in all of our hearts, we believe it's all about the kids, right? But is there any way to also look at maybe the amount when we finally get, or you guys get the proposal or what they're asking for, that maybe given what's in there, that the amount might even be looked at as a possibility that they still get funds, but maybe it's not $18,000. So I just want to bring that up, that maybe it's not 18, it could be something else.
15.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So we do have the contract in the packet, but maybe what she's suggesting is the price negotiable.
Right, given how many people are actually signing up now and who is actually, part of it versus, the past and present.
Yeah.
How many kids, and again, with the report, what's really happening with that to qualify the request for those funds specifically. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm Judy Turner from Zinfandel Ridge. I'm so sorry, and I know to do that. I apologize. Okay. Got it?
Thank you. Any other public comments of anybody here in City Hall? Any other city council member comments, questions? Any comments or questions from anybody on Zoom? So do we, as a council, do we want to give staff direction? I'm also inclined to table this and to ask staff to reach out to Mr. Howard and get some more information and maybe either make himself available on Zoom or here in City Hall so that we could ask questions and get more information. So what direction would the council like to go? Does anybody? would
I make
anybody
a
like to-
motion to table this to the future agenda.
I second
Roll call?
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember Sim.
Aye.
Councilmember Amoruso.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ackerman.
Aye.
Mayor Clifford is absent. Thank you.
Okay, item 7.3, to approve the employment agreement with the city manager for annual salary of $119,000 and appoint Margaret Roberts as city manager for Plymouth.
Yes, good evening. This item is to approve an employment agreement with the city's next, what will be the next city manager, Margaret Roberts. The council conducted an extensive job search and recruitment. I think it was even as early as late spring, early summer. And the recruitment went out, went to all the major advertisers, online and in print. And after an extensive search, the council directed to make an offer to Margaret Roberts. And so as a culmination of that process, what the council has before them is that employment agreement. I've spoken with Margaret and she's prepared to start Monday full-time under a 4-10 shift. So basically Monday through Thursday, 10-hour days. She will be an FLSA exempt employee. So, she will, as the chief executive of the city, she will be required on special occasions, certain circumstances to be available at all times. And maybe to be in the city at other times as reasonably needed. And so her base salary is $119,000. She will also be entitled to receive the city's medical benefit in lieu amount, the full amount. On top of that, she'll also receive a cell phone for her duties. And all of the other benefits and everything are outlined in the agreement. She'll be entitled to an annual performance review. The contract also specifies, I think, for the mutual benefit of her and the council, a performance evaluation within the first 60 days. So goals and objectives and priorities can be clearly set forth for her, so she understands her marching orders from the very beginning. I believe she's very enthusiastic to start. She has a broad level of municipal experience in various departments, everything from the clerk's office to economic development and other areas as well. And I think she's excited to start this new chapter. That's essentially, what I have to say. If there's any questions, happy to answer them.
Thank you. Are there any public comments from anybody here in City Hall?
Hi, John Coleman. I was interested, but kind of surprised at the salary. That's the truth, because it's substantially more than our previous city manager was getting. But the main question I had was, what is the total package? The medical and dental, what is that additional to the $119,000?
Yeah, the medical, vision, and dental benefit that employees are otherwise eligible for is $1,236, I believe, $1,236. And so she would be receiving that as in lieu pay, in lieu of taking that medical, dental, and vision,
That's 12,000.
1,236 per month, yes.
So that is close, over 12,000 annually.
Yeah,
So I'm thinking,
John,
sorry.
Are there any other public comments from anybody here in City Hall? Any public comments from anybody on Zoom? Okay, how about comments from city council members? Questions, comments?
I think when, just referring back to John's statement, our previous city manager was not a full-time city manager. That's why there is some difference in pay there. Yeah, times are changing.
I'll add one thing as well. We interviewed close to 25 people. And, you know, we spent a lot of time doing it. And I truly think we found the right person. Obviously, we'll find out. It's council made the decision.
And I think just to clarify, you didn't mean that we actually interviewed 25 people, but we reviewed. all the resumes.
That's correct. We looked at 25 resumes, we interviewed
Yeah.
10.
Councilman Amoroso, any comments, questions, feedback?
Nope.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve the employment agreement with city manager for an annual salary of $119,000 and appoint Margaret Roberts as city manager for Plymouth.
I'll second.
We have a roll call vote, please. Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember Sim.
Aye.
Councilmember Amoroso.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ekelin. Aye. And Mayor Kleinfelder is absent. Thank you. Okay. Item number 8, council staff communications. Do we have a report from Kathleen, the city manager report, who I know is a little bit under the weather?
Yes, I'm sorry. I can't be there in person tonight. I apologize for that. I have a couple of things that I would speak to. One is that, you know, I'm excited to have Margaret coming on Monday. I think that's great. But I do feel there's going to be a real transition period this time. And that, you know, I'm not going to be able to step right back into my public works director role immediately. And I'm still going to have to work on some of these projects beyond my normal job position and get Margaret up to speed with where everything is. And basically, I'm requesting that you might consider extending my pay for another month for the transition period, since I will still have a lot of extra duties to perform rather than just my regular job. So, you know, I would just like you to consider that fact. And I don't think that is an unreasonable request. And, you know, I know there's some funding in there because my position hasn't been paid for several months while I was doing both the positions. So that's just one item I want to put out there. I just want to be straightforward and honest with council about how I feel about that. Another item that I want to make sure that I don't forget is that there is a public review of the housing element that is starting tomorrow. And we do have it on the city website. So I want to make sure the information gets out there so everybody understands that it is the public review opportunity. And this is the housing element that we're working with all the other cities, and the county is leading that process. I have one more thing too. It was requested of me for a sewer plant update. Just so you know, Selby and I have been in contact with AWA, and we're working on a proposal to amend our contract so that they can take on the wastewater plant when our operator leaves. We are not at a point yet to bring things forward. It is a process trying to figure out exactly how much time and work there is at that plant that would need to be transferred. If council was looking for an update on the status of the sewer plant, we do have the grinder back up and working. But we do have issues with the software, and we are going to need Primex, who is our software people, to come out and work on the computer system. There are also electrical issues at the water tank starter and the motors, which will need to be addressed by electricians. And the new sump pump, which we just put in but has not been working correctly, has been sent back to the factory. And they're going to either repair it or replace it, depending on what the issues are that they have found. So those are the things I have today.
Thank you, Kathleen. Frank, how did we address?
I think we can take a look at it administratively, and we'll report to the council, if it requires council action.
Okay, so we don't have to.
There's no actual, contract with her for the council approve. She's been sort of an acting interim role. So, it's not on the agenda, so we can't really get into it tonight, but we'll take a look at it and take appropriate action. And if it has to come back to council, we'll deal with that. But we heard her request loud and clear.
And I'm grateful you made the request, Kathleen. Other council member reports, Councilmember Amoruso?
I have nothing to report on necessarily. I haven't seen any meetings because they haven't had any APD meetings. And for future agenda item, ask you.
Councilmember White?
I'm good.
You did. Councilmember Sim?
Yes, just a quick reminder about December 3rd, our Christmas market function we're having. And I don't know that we have a council meeting, I guess it's after that, December 3rd. Anyway, so some postage out and so forth, and we hope it's as successful as it was last year. Thank you.
And at this time, I don't have anything. I guess just to remind everybody that this is our last meeting for November, correct? And then,
Unless the council would like to meet on Thanksgiving, it's technically the fourth Thursday of the month, so you don't want to come to my house, trust me, too much screaming.
okay, on that note, the meeting is now adjourned.